Welcome to Indie Game Clinic, the YouTube channel where I play your games and tell you what's rubbish about them, objectively speaking.
Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We've got some more robots, may you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you.
No, I'm just checking all of my new setup. I've done a bunch of stuff. I don't know if you can tell. I'm back in the office. Indie Game Clinic is back in the actual hospital again. And the thing I love about working in this hospital is that every hallway has 2 fire extinguishers at the same position, parallel to each other on the wall, which means if there's a fire, you don't have to think too hard about which wall to run to, because the fire extinguishers are the same distance either way, and I find that quite helpful.
We've got some more robots, may you be spared. Thank you to.
So you can see I've set up a macro on my OBS to play the thank you to the patrons song, which hopefully I won't keep triggering it with.
On this list, thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We've got some.
Welcome to the Community Monthly. This is a monthly stream where I play games belonging to members of our Discord community, most of whom who are support this channel through YouTube memberships or Patreon subscriptions. Very kind people. Some of you just snuck in through other means, and I haven't worked out a way to get rid of you yet. But every month we have the sign up, and I try and prioritize playing the games I haven't seen before, and then games that we've seen month after month I'll sort of put to the end of the queue. I did have one submission this month that was on iOS, and I didn't check early enough and I didn't realize. So I'm going to say it now. Next month's Community Monthly, I will make that game the first game we look at. I will get set up for streaming my phone to the computer, which I've done once before, but was quite annoying. And that means if you're in the Discord and you're working on an iOS game and you want me to test a test flight build in the July Community Monthly, which I think is on the 22nd, it's already up and scheduled. I did all of next month's scheduling already. Then submit it. It's in the playtesting and QA channel of the private Discord. Just look at the pinned messages. That's where you can get to submit stuff to the Community Monthly. And I might start doing these twice a month once Patreon gets up to a certain level. But at the moment, once a month means you get to jump the queue and have your game on the stream. The other streams I do are all games submitted by random members of the YouTube audience, so that's a mixed bag. You know, we could get anything. Sometimes we get really good games on Indies Under the Knife, and sometimes we get really bad games because you just never know what you're going to get with YouTube, because they're Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what we've got in the spreadsheet. The first one that we're looking at, we've got God of Terror, Crestfallen. We're going to be really jumping around between different types of games this time, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. So we've got Kilo's Drift, which is a sort of a driving game with a difference, spelled DRFT, which could be pronounced Drift if you wanted to. We've got God of Terror Crestfallen, which I thought I was showing, but I wasn't because I'm in the hospital still. We've got, is it Milia? Milia's interesting little space game that I keep seeing in the Discord and I'm very intrigued by, and I think it might be something that's going to melt my brain. Smithy Games, Chair Champions that we've seen before, but I think it's had quite a few little tweaks and adds. And yeah, Smithy Games was the iOS game Dungeon Delivered that I will check out next time. I'll put to the top of the queue. I'm going to highlight it now in my Epic spreadsheet. Yeah. CGI chest hair. Yeah, I downloaded a bunch of you just want me to be Matt Berry, don't you? Father. I downloaded a bunch of interesting filters for OBS, but CGI chest hair wasn't on there, unfortunately, so that's a shame. Let's check out God of Terror Crestfallen. So I got a mic upgrade, as you may be able to hear, and it came on Saturday, and then I realized it needed a preamp, because that's what happens when you have a big boy mic. So I had to order this. I don't think you can see it because of my green screen, but there's like a preamp sticking into the mic here, and I had to order that, and that's just come today. So I've been crawling around under tables, as is often what happens when you get new gear. Gods of Terror Crestfallen. Let's see. Let's go and check out the store page first. I always want to have a look at people's marketing. God of Terror Crestfallen is a third-person shooter that attempts to blend power fantasy gameplay with Souls-like encounters while telling a grim, dark story. Cool. It's interesting, isn't it? I think if there is a story, you want to write this as if you're in the world of the story. I think that's actually one of the ways that people sort of subconsciously identify whether it's a gamey game or a story game. Is if it's a story-heavy game where that's supposed to be part of the appeal, then this would be written as if you were talking to a character from the story rather than just describing the game to a gamer. This kind of description always makes me think, you're trying to do too much. But let's see how it is. I like the idea of a shooter that has this strange psychedelic fantasy vibe. I mean, I'm a big fan of... yeah, you shouldn't say attempts in your marketing copy. You should say it does. It does tell a story. Right, it's already downloaded. Why am I clicking download on that page? Why do they do that? Why do they have a download button on the store page when your computer knows you've got it? June 2028, that's just realistic. So I'm gonna go to full screen because we're playing an Unreal game, which means that my camera will not work. Oh no, it's not too bad at the moment, but maybe that's because we're on the Windows security thing and not the Unreal game. We're getting some Diablo music. Come, stay a while and listen. Fish meat. Graphics. I'm stuck. The menu's broken. So I'll restart it. For some reason, it had a bunch of menu options that were more obvious than the play the game button, so I started going into the menu straight away. New game. That's what I'm looking for. The registration point on this mouse doesn't feel like it's in the right place. Enter profile name, Deckard Cain. Stay a while and listen. I'm doing a Sean Connery impression. That's what voiceover in the 90s was in games, especially at Blizzard. It's just like, right, you do a Sean Connery impression, you do a Vincent Price impression, you do a... Oh. Leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. It's Laurie. Let me just shrink this. I've cut some edges off of the screen here, haven't I? You do cow level. Lori, what's going on? Come, you have to see this. The light. It's finally back. We're having a rave. But how? This is incredible. I cannot believe my eyes. I did not believe myself at first, but it is true. The light of the martyr shines upon us again. I love it when the light of the martyr shines upon me. Duncan, have you seen this? Our wait is finally over. It is indeed, and you know what that means. Right, we have work to do. We do. I just spoke to Voice. He wants to see you. I need to... I've got the... I've got the edge of the screen clipped. And it's because that's usually where my Windows bar is. And I don't want you to see all of my weird apps that I have. So I hide it. I'm ashamed of my Windows bar. There we go. But it's cutting off the names of the characters in this instance. Use WASD to move around. Is that me? Jump with F. Control. Interact. This is a very, very strange control scheme, and I think coming out of the window has made the camera lock or something, because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be able to see more than this. I like the T-posing. It's a vibe. Man, I'll try that again. One more time. Sorry, there are so many fiddly things to do with trying to get a game to operate well on a stream. This is why so many people play games in windowed mode when they're streaming. So I'll go through this in a more sensible way now. The registration point of this cursor doesn't appear to be where it should be. Like when I put it down here, it's like it doesn't go onto settings until I move the thing right down here. And I think that's going to happen in multiple menus as well. Like, look, enter profile name. It doesn't click into that box until I'm down here somewhere. So that's a kind of UX thing that's going to really bug people if you don't get it sorted very early on. I think more games just need blatant T-posing in every scene. I don't know why it is being squished on OBS. I cannot get that to... Here we go. Oh, God. Every time I click in or out to go back to OBS and change it, it gets, it changes dimensions, which means I can never get it quite right. So you're going to be stuck with this for now, I'm afraid. That's the best I can do. The light of the martyr, blah, 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 blah. Whoa. 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 This is definitely one of those cases where we needed we just need a simple gameplay prototype with no story or anything, because this is all stuff that goes into your game after you know that the gameplay is playable and interesting to people. Because at the moment I'm struggling to get through all of the startup menus and stuff because of UX problems. Like the mouse isn't letting me click on skip in the... Okay, here we go. So in the last time I opened it, because I switched focus and came out of the game, the bit that for some reason, the bit that connects your mouse to the actual viewport of the character had gone. Although, it's just happened again. Something is going on with this game. Let's try it one more time. And this time I'm not going to touch OBS at all. Continue. Yeah, we like the 90s squished look. It's slimming. Okay. So we've got over the shoulder camera. This is very dark. You can see lots of bits where like the character's head almost disappears. Character animation fine. Sprint. You can't strafe when you're sprinting, which kind of makes sense. Sprinting kind of makes it harder to steer. That's fine. That's kind of what I expect. I've got dodge roll with space, jump with F. Not sure that makes sense. I'm going to say it now. If you're making a third-person action game in 2025, your controls should be mapped on as closely as possible to Helldivers or Fortnite. That should be your reference point for a third-person action game in terms of where the buttons are mapped. I don't know any game that would put jump on F. It's not terrible to learn once you know it, but it's just not very intuitive. Okay, so sprint, left shift. Objective, descend the spire and approach the statue of the martyr. What if I don't want to do that? Oh. What are you doing? Who's this guy? I am medieval Luke Skywalker, and this is my friend, Uncle Herbert. I always used to say to him, "Got any sherbet, Uncle Herbert?" And he would say, "Do your belt up properly, you silly boy." Yeah, the text is very difficult to read. So the contrast level of the text is not great, and also we have such a dark game here that having the text in black, I know you've tried to compensate by putting a thing around it, but putting a thing around it isn't the simplest solution. The simplest solution is to make the text white. The Shelf of Candles. It's got a cool atmosphere. Who is this? This is the martyr. Is that the martyr? Excuse me. Is that the statue of the martyr? Sorry, I haven't been paying attention in weird space religion school. Very, very dark. Quite hard to see details and stuff. Hello. Are you here to see the martyr as well? This music is very intense given that nothing is really happening. So I'm gonna just, I know I'm blasting you with that organ, I'm gonna just turn it down. Quite enjoying the Trent Reznor-ass music though. Adam, I'm glad to see you. This is a joyful day. Our patience is finally rewarded with the light of the martyr returning. We can finally venture beyond the walls of the spire. It has been so long. Lately I felt as if this day would never come. We're blasting. Adam, you must not lose faith in the martyr. He is with us on the brightest day and in our darkest hour. We would never have survived the long night without his light. I see it now. I was foolish of me to have these thoughts. My doubts are no more. I'm glad to hear that, Adam. The road ahead is bound to be perilous. You will be among the first scouting party to venture outside, explore the land surrounding the spire, and report back with anything you find. I feel like this is a decent amount of setup in terms of dialogue and stuff, but it's still a bit too much for a game that's in this stage of development. Go to a shop and get equipped for the journey. See, you make me do shop menus before I get to fight anything. I'm not a fan of that kind of ordering of the experience of a game, right? I think if your game is an action game and the primary pull is supposed to be it feels cool to fight stuff, then I need to get that experience within the first 5 minutes. The setup of the world here is cool. Like, the idea of people being locked away in some kind of sanctum for a while and then going out and re-exploring the world, that is cool. I like that. That's a very, very cool sort of D&D-ass setup. But I've had a bit of jank with, you know, just the initial setup of the game and being able to read this text and stuff like that. And now telling me that I need to go to a shop before I can actually do the gameplay is gonna... well, it's putting me off, and people who are playing this as a sort of customer are going to be like, nope, I don't want to go to a shop. I want to blow something up as soon as possible. Ascend to the first floor of the spire and visit Laurie's shop, where she will sell you lotions and potions. And show you her massive organ. Adam, I heard you're heading out. I do, and I heard you have something for me. I do indeed. Take a look. See, that could be one line of dialogue with Laurie saying, here, I have something for you. That's cool. We got some H.R. Geiger crossbow. I'd buy that for $1. It is beautiful. I hope you will not have to use it. Don't tell me that. I want to use a crossbow as many times as possible. Oh, if it was an AK in this setup, that would be some Hideo Kojima ass. Genre switching. Explore the land surrounding the spire. How do I get out of the spire, though? Video games are always about a spire these days. I mean, you can't let me just jump down the stairs in the spire. Apparently there's full damage. It's a cool sequence. I like the little respawn sequence. This decor with the yellow and the purple, it kind of looks like a wine bar or a cocktail bar. Oh, this is somewhere that you go at the end of the night on a Friday or Saturday, and 30% of the people there are called Tracy. There's a hen party there. There's all this marble everywhere, purple and yellow. I don't know what you'd call this aesthetic. It's sort of close to what we'd call Essex glam over here. But it needs a bit more glitter. But I like it. It's kind of giving me like early 2000s Blizzard. This could totally be a World of Warcraft, original World of Warcraft location. Is that the door? Am I going out that way? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine how much energy it takes to open this door once? I'm fine learning that there's fall damage by falling. That's how video games should work. Right. Look at this. This is cool. We've got some No Man's Sky ass world out here. It feels like a cover of a 1970s low technology science fiction book. I've fallen down a hole. This is not a good start, guys. I can't get out of this hole. Swap shoulder tab. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that feels slightly more natural to me for some reason. Fire is left mouse button, right mouse button is aim down sights. Don't assume that your player will know what ADS means. This isn't like a hardcore shooter game. Right, dodge with spacebar, reload. This is cool. Very, very cool environment. Look at that. So, I really like a bunch of the world building here, and I don't think the graphics look amazing, right? I think they look like a composite of assets from different places, but I think the overall art direction of this cool, weird, purple alien world with this in the middle of it, I think that's really cool. It sort of reminds me of retro, sort of 70s science fantasy, like Gene Wolfe, or I don't know if anyone's ever seen the film Gentlemen Broncos. That's like a parody about science fiction authors, and it's got Jermaine Clement in it. It's kind of giving me that vibe, and I like that, but I think a lot of the stuff about the Spire and all of the story and dialogue we just had, I think it might be better to just imply that rather than put the player through it. Because I didn't really get any enjoyment out of talking to those characters, you know? They weren't really... They were there to tell me stuff. They were like MMO NPCs. They weren't charming or anything like that. They were just like dispensers of information. And that contextual information about why we're in a Spire and why we're going out into the world is maybe interesting, but we don't need to spend 10 minutes getting it, right? We can know that very quickly and then just get straight into playing the game. What's that? Is that some sort of spawn point? Bro. What is up with you? It's feeling very sort of single player MMO at the moment. Oh, sorry, I clicked off of the window. Yeah, it does feel like a kind of KOTOR type game. I don't know what is going on with the cursor in this game, but it is not... It does not click where it looks like it's gonna click. Right, I'm gonna stop there, because we've had too many UX issues with this one. I'm intrigued by this. I would say if you really want to make a run of it with this game, though, I'm not going to say totally abandon the story, but put all of the story aside and just focus on making the UX smoother in terms of interacting with stuff and clicking on it and stuff, and just let people get to the action part of the game as quick as possible, because you know that took so long to get there. I really kind of like the actual planet, though. I want to hang out there. Like, it's just very sort of feels like some 70s ass, like Gene Wolfe. Is it science fiction? Is it fantasy type, like, book cover? Yeast Lords. Absolute screen position versus scalp position. Please don't say is the game dev version of Show Don't Tell. Yeah, exactly. Like, characters in games exist on a scale between, characters that are actually performing the role of a character within a story, right? They're there for us to have a feeling about, to like or dislike, and all of those kind of things. They have secrets, they have motives, all of that kind of stuff. And then there's characters that are just a body that has some game mechanics in it. And if that, at which point they're an NPC or an avatar, they're not really a character in terms of narrative. And at that point, if they're just dispensing information, then maybe your game just needs to give that information out in a quicker way, because they're not compelling as characters in their own right. I'm going to play Mazer quickly. I think this is one I'm only going to have on for 5 minutes, because last time I played it, it melted my brain pretty quickly, and it's very reaction based. But check it out if you haven't been in one of these streams previously, because I think this is a very, very stylish game. Epilepsy warning. Don't look at this if you have photosensitive epilepsy. I will stop playing it in about 5 minutes time. Can I play it with the controller? I can. I've got my medical grade white controller today that they have at the hospital. See that? Hospital edition. You're only allowed to use white controllers in the hospital. Furious Furfur. I do have some opinions on Stop Killing Games. I'll talk about it briefly, because I talked about this on Blue Sky the other day and some people came for me. So, I don't understand why Thor doubled down on it so much. I think the general idea of Stop Killing Games is good. I also find it a little bit concerning, just in the sense of, like, you're handing over an entire service with all of the obligations to, like, protect people's data and stuff like that go with that. And I don't necessarily trust, like, AAA games companies to handle people's data safely and all of that kind of stuff. But handing over a live service game to fans or mod makers or whatever, whoever is going to take it over, it's not quite the same as, like, requiring a fan patch to run Vampire the Masquerade, right? That's a single player game. It exists as a thing on its own. And what I'm not saying is I disagree with the idea of Stop Killing Games and that initiative. I do think there's a degree of naivety around it in terms of what it means to take over a game of that nature. Because you're not just making the game continue to run, you're having to do whatever server maintenance is involved. There's all that technical side of stuff, and there's also the ethical thing of, like, how do you do the community management? How do you stop, like, corruption, like the people who are running the new version of the game just giving themselves cheats, or you could have some backdoor. I'm not going to give you the idea, but you could have bad stuff going on, and because it's not a company that is, like, beholden to the law, there's all sorts of potential for, like, bad stuff happening. And I don't even know what all of that bad stuff is, but I just think the chance of people doing bad stuff in that type of situation is way higher than just, like, oh, we're going to make a fan patch for this single player game. So that's really my only opinions on it. And I expressed those on Blue Sky, and nerds got angry at me because they thought I was saying that I don't agree with Stop Killing Games at a fundamental level, which is not true. But as always, militant, extremist type people do not understand nuance. Hang on. I need to put my proper name in. Sorry, guys. I was so close. Can I type it? It won't let me switch. Won't let me switch back to keyboard to type my name in. I was going to be called the Nuance Enjoyer, but it won't let me, so I'll just be called the Nuance. The Nuance is here. Check the settings menu in UI before rage quitting. No, I will never check this. It's only the settings menu only causes me pain. Right, launch and change direction with the D-pad. Spend a slow coin with B. Interesting. I don't think we had the slow coin in the version of this that I played before. Oh, I feel like we started off a lot slower than before, or it's taking longer to speed up, which is good. Because the... we've got a little graphical indicator for when you're a bit broken. So we've got a kind of Pac-Man-like, where the game gradually speeds up, and you can slow it down by spending a resource. And as you can see, it's very punishing if you're not paying very close attention, but I really like the kind of Berlin nightclub vibe of this game. Oh, my previous broken egg self is there. Oh. So when you turn, it's kind of when you turn a 90-degree turn into this, it sort of determines whether you're going to be eating up one line of pills or both of them. If you get it perfectly precise, then you go down the middle and you get them both. If you miss it, you get one line, and you can't really undo that unless you come back that way later on, because it's too hard to sort of turn around within the bit. So. Optional challenge. Reach 18 speed. See, I missed the turn then. I like seeing my little robot egg corpses around the map. Oh. It's very easy to get over comfortable in this and then quickly make lots of mistakes. So I spent my slow coin. Just brings the speed right back down again. Which is like that little circle hoop type motif. What does reroll do? Reach level 20 without picking up a heart coin. I'm not going to do that. I want a heart coin. Oh, need a bit more of a window between the bashes there, because I just got hit twice in one go. It felt very unforgiving. Okay, got to remember I've got a slow coin. The UI for the health and coins, when you're playing on a kind of large curved monitor, it really feels quite hard to see out the corner of your eye. So it might be nice if those were like printed icons rather than a number. Because this game doesn't really give you enough time to like read numbers and stuff like that. I think I actually finished a level that time. Can you believe it? I really like, yeah, the square things. They slow you down and zoom out. That's a really nice touch. Really, really cool approach to difficulty to think of, like, what... It's like you've thought in the most abstract terms, like, what makes this activity harder to do, and then used that as a design lever. So, okay, one of the power-ups will just zoom us out so we can see further ahead. Great. That's game design. That's game design, baby! I'm not very good at it, but I think it's good. You need to take this to a nightclub where they'll let you put a game on in a nightclub. I'm pretty sure a maze in Berlin would let you put this on in the nightclub section. They'd be like, yeah, this is totally a nightclub game. Although you might have to have other people's music over it. Which is a shame, because the music and the visual style of the game go so well together. Ah! Oh. Collect all monies on a single maze. I didn't realize that was what an M was. Oh, 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 oh. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Snack. A million billion monies. I feel quite sorry for the ball when it's got a crack in it like that. Broken. What's the Japanese thing called when you break things and then fix them with gold glue? Just want to do a little remix. Got a frog. A little frog. Musical frog. This is my new tune. It's called Kintsugi Frog. I'm here all week. It's good. This is a good little game. Very difficult. I cannot do it. The sort of people who like that are going to like it a lot. I really like the way that the kind of art style and the gameplay fit together. It feels very coherent. What did we check out? We've done Gods of Thingamabob. We've done Mazer. We're going to check out Drift next, which I believe I have over here on my other screen. Windows Defender is telling me, no, don't play it. Don't play it. You don't know what's in there. Right, it's opened on the wrong monitor. Classic. It's still opening on the wrong monitor. How do I get it to open on the right monitor? Mo monitors, mo problems. Oh man. Maybe I just need to share the game window rather than the display. This is so funky. My main monitor is set as number 1, but this game just wants to go into number 2 for some reason. Derped. Although this could be the start of a revelation that actually playing games on the smaller monitor is better for streaming, so who knows? You can't slow down. Steer by using A and D. Drifting empowers you for a while. Okay, I'm doing some turning. Am I getting hurt when I hit the edge like that? Because oh, this feels great to control. It's good. So you've got no control over your speed, and you just do left and right, and then we've got a kind of bullet heaven type style game in terms of everything else that's going on. Feels great. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't realize. Right. I can fix this. There we go. There we go. To be fair, OBS just doesn't like multi-game streams. This is why this is a silly format, and I'm a silly person. Okay, so what did you miss? Well, we're doing some screech driving, and I'm not controlling the shooting is automatic. So we're doing drift driving meets Vampire Survivors with an ape-out aesthetic, which is a good combination of things in my book. Although I hope you have an easy way to tweak the colours of things as the game progresses, because I think in a game like this, having things change visually in some way is kind of well, not essential, but it is a good way to make the game feel a bit more varied as it goes on. And Ape Out has that. It's sort of like things change relative color. One of my favorite sort of top-down survival games of all time was a game that used to be on Xbox Live Arcade called I Made a Game with Zombies in it. And it would hit certain parts and like all of the lighting and colors would change and stuff like that. This is fun. And it also had a song that was like 15 minutes long that went through a dubstep section and a metal section, and there was a bit where the guy was literally screaming the name of the game, I Made a Game with Zombies in it. And that was fun. But yeah, that had like sections where the colors would all change and everything. And I think it would be neat if this did that as well. It's difficult though, because Ape Out already did a couple of different color schemes, and so whatever color schemes you're going to do will look like they're taken from Ape Out, even though they're not. They're taken from Saul Bass movie intros and posters. That's what happens if you're the first person to use an art style in a video game, then everyone assumes that it's just from that video game, because gamers are a bunch of Philistines and they don't understand that video games are interactive cartoons that take influence from other places. So they go, oh my god, your game is Cuphead. Oh my god, your game is Ape Out. It's like, did you know that these art styles existed long before the computer game? And making the first computer game with that art style does not mean that you now own that art style. So I'm feeling very anti-gamer today. I don't know why. It's the sort of thing people will take at too much face value, and they'll go, why do you hate gamers? While I'm literally sitting here playing 10 games in a row and talking about the history of games and referencing all of the games I've played in my life. But people will be like, you said something slightly mean about gamers. Get him. I'm not really paying attention to what these do. I'm always going to go with more projectiles going pew pew more quickly, though. That will be my go-to. It's great. It's very meditative. The core activity of steering the car. I'm glad that I don't have to concentrate on anything else, because it really is enough. Steering the car and thinking about what the weapons do. Perfect. Remember to stop at the next pickup and see what the chat is saying. Gamers are a political party, yeah. Sort of the refuse to believe that everyone plays games and that being someone who plays games doesn't make you part of a special subculture anymore because it's not 1995. Those enemies are very Unity agents with default settings. I mean, that works for me. I don't want enemies. I want the enemies in this to be very simple and easy to understand. I don't feel like my weapon choices matter too much yet, no. But I'm also only half thinking about it because I'm streaming. So the kinetic is that little bomb thing that flies out. I think one of the things I'm having is I don't really know how these weapon names map onto the map onto the weapons I'm using, because we've got an image here, and this one says it's for kinetic, and this one says it's for chaos. And I get that what is happening is there's a type of attack, and there's a statistic for the attack, and the statistic is affecting that type of attack. But these both have the same image, and the image is basically telling us this is going up because this is an upgrade. But I'm not sure if the upgradiness is the thing that we want to illustrate in this card, if that makes sense. Like, I want to know which weapon kinetic or chaos is. Increase attack speed, reduce area 47, add chaos to pulse charge. Sure, that sounds interesting. I'll go with one of them. We've got a big boy. Oh, you're ripping off Super Hexagon as well. I can't believe you would rip off Super Hexagon like this. So derivative. Did I win? I beat round 10. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to give it one more go, because I just find it inherently pleasurable. So what this game already has, I mean, it's got quite a few things going for it, actually. It's like, you know, it's stylish, it feels good to play. It's very coherent in terms of the way that, like, the aesthetic and the funky music and the art style and the driving all fit together. But it's also, regardless of, like, whether you're enjoying the challenge or understanding what you're doing, it is just a sort of inherently pleasurable activity, which is something I think it is worth aiming for in the very early stages of making a game. You should sort of make sure that the main thing you're doing is an inherently pleasurable activity. Almost like a toy, right? If you're making a shooter, any sort of game where game feel is important, if a game where it's jumping around and trying not to fall down a hole, if it's a shooting game, even if it's a management game and the game is entirely interacting with menus, you need to make those core things that you do over and over again feel pleasurable to do. And I wouldn't say that's more important than having a goal and having challenges and stuff like that, but I think it is important to get right first. Because if you can't master that, then no one is going to enjoy playing your game. So often it's better to put your implementation time into just making something fun to do, rather than actually making it a full legitimate game. It's better to do that early on, because otherwise, you know, you spend loads of time making whatever story or loads of additional content and stuff like that, and it just really need the baseline thing to be an enjoyable thing to do. Otherwise you're making stuff to make a game replayable, right? Like, people add loads of content to make their game replayable, like loads of levels and stuff like that, and it's like, you need to make sure that it's a pleasurable activity to do in the first place. You need to make sure you've got a game that people want to play once before you make a game that people can play 100 times. Because even if there's enough content or characters or weapons or levels or whatever the type of content is in your game, if there's enough for 100 plays but people don't want to play it more than once, then you've got a problem, and you've just wasted a year of your life or whatever. This really is tapping into my primal desire to be a little guy that goes around. It's getting a tiny bit stuttery for me on this play, and that might just be a coincidence, or it might be like OBS playing up with the game or something, but worth seeing if you've got any sort of like any kind of leaks between one loop and the next. It's stopped now. It was getting kind of stuttery before. So when your game is pretty solid, like this is, then you can get into me being like the most expensive QA engineer in the world and pointing out these little technical things. But most of the time, that's not what we're here to do. I think an enemy spawned right where I drove then, because I couldn't see it. Cool. Drifter is cool. Drifter. Now I need to move all the windows around again. Discordception, not Discord. OBSception. Right. We're going to check out Milia's game now, which I think is in browser. I'm looking forward to this. It looked very interesting. Hello, Rasputin. Good screen name. I'm a big fan of Poopin. I'm a big fan of being a Russian wizard. Just having a quick look in the chat before I get started with this one. The ribbit wrap. Just going back up to the Stop Killing Games convo and seeing what the response was, because I jumped straight into the game after that and didn't actually see what anyone was saying, so... Stuff is happening. These are planets, I think. This is a water planet, and this is a people planet. And I can... I've drawn a line which has created a weird spiral arm between those, and now stuff is going along them and they're sending things. So I'm guessing the water is like a resource and the people are like colonists. So maybe I can send colonists onto the next thing and they will go and do some colonizing. Will that happen? I don't know what's happening. It's like I'm playing Mini Metro, but instead of playing a very abstract game that models a thing I already understand, I'm playing a very abstract game that models something I don't understand, so I don't have a sense of what I should be trying to achieve by interacting with it. Oh. Okay, we've highlighted this one, and I'm not sure if that was something I did or if it's just something that happened. So I've opened up a link between this planet. This noise gets quite irritating quite quickly, by the way. I've opened up a link between this planet and the next, and now we're sending people over there. Ah, I see. Okay. So when I have a ring highlighted, it shows me information about the planet, and it has a bar of colonists on the top and a bar of water on the bottom. And those are like two resources that I need to balance between the two things. And then... Can we make... So that water is now going to go across there onto this one. Now I've got another link. Can I go out a layer, or do I have to wait? Okay. That seems to happen automatically. This one needs water, so I'm going to connect it to that middle one. if I can. I don't know if I can. I have to chain them together to get them to deliver to each other. This is so confusing. It's very, very cool conceptually. I'm sort of not sure how this would be different each time you play it. So it might be the sort of game that you need to structure to be like a game you play once that sort of keeps unfolding into slightly different mechanics, which is kind of what a lot of incremental games do. Like things like Cookie Clicker or A Dark Room, they sort of have a core, you know, gradually increasing resource gain, and then something unlocks and it's a slightly different mechanic, and something unlocks and it's a slightly different mechanic, because it's cool. You can see it gets very messy very quickly with all these chains, and I can get rid of them as well, apparently. So what happens if I cut all of my chains, all of my supply chains, and then do them from scratch? Can I do that? I'm just going to turn the sound down on the stream because that... I think having a different sound for delivering people versus water would be helpful as well. It would solve well, it wouldn't solve that sound being too repetitive, but it would give it more of a reason to happen because it would be signaling which thing is moving. What's this making? This has got... I think those are supposed to be crystals. So this one turns people into crystals. That's hideous. Why would you do that? I died. Aleo got weirded out by the sound. Oh. 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 So... yeah, you can just... I would, with the sound issue, have a different sound for each type of resource as it's moved, because that sound is triggering when a resource gets moved between planets, right? So I would have a different sound for each resource, and whenever you've got a repetitive sound like that in a game, just randomize the pitch by between you know, if the pitch is normally 100%, randomize it between 90 and 110% each time you play it. And that can just stop ear fatigue a little bit. Another trick with sound effects, when you've got very repetitive sound effects, if you make the sound effect up of two parts. So if you had like a whoosh sound for when a ship moves between planets, and every time a ship moves between planets, it plays a whoosh with the pitch randomization. And then on top of that, you also play another sound that is like a tinkle for crystals, or the hoo for the people, or when it's water, it goes push. And it does both of them at the same time. And they're both slightly pitch randomized. And that makes like a very rich soundscape and stops it kind of getting irritating. This is a really cool concept. I'm not sure what the plan would be for it to be a longer game, but I really like it. It gets visually quite confusing very quickly. And I think some of that could be solved by thinking about how you use color, because at the moment, this is very minimalist and kind of bleak looking. And that's cool. It kind of makes me feel like I'm, you know, this is telling me that this game is like a hard sci-fi game. You know, this is like the three-body problem, the game, with the way that this is presented with just like one color and monochrome. That's very cool and stylish. But I think there are some elements of the game where having some color coding might help. Like if I establish a link between these two planets, right? You've got this dotted line. And does that mean... So I'm not quite sure if the lines are between the planets or the rings, but I guess there's only one planet on each orbit, so it's kind of no difference. Now, if you imagine that... we've already got two colors. So if this planet is grey and this planet is blue, you've already got circles on this dotted line between the two tracks, right? So imagine if this dotted line was alternating the two colors of the planets it's communicating between. So because this is going between the ring of the grey planet and the ring of the blue planet, these are blue and grey. And then the next line out, if you have like a I don't know, like a salmon pink planet, and you draw a line between that and the blue planet, you get a blue and pink line, which would create a really nice aesthetic effect and also just make it quicker to understand which of these lines are communicating between which planets. It wouldn't be a perfect solution because color blindness stuff requires you to have textures and patterns as well as colors, but it might be a kind of a cool way to start thinking about how to make it clearer. Right, I'm going to try one more time. So it says I've got 2 links there. I'm not sure whether getting the next planet in orbit to respond is something that happens automatically or when a certain condition is met. I can't tell what's happening there. And I also think it's like it's the sort of game that could be an incremental game, which is kind of like you can ignore it and there's no fail state, but I obviously can fail because I keep failing. So I think working out at a top level what kind of experience you want this to be, whether it's like a game where you really need to focus or you'll lose, or something more chill, because it kind of gives the impression of being something more chill from the minimalism, I guess. Very much just thinking out loud about this because I don't even really understand how to play it yet, or like what the strategy is to do well. But I do like it. I think there's something here. It does look like a James Bond intro, doesn't it? So what causes the next ring to open up? Do I draw between them and it does it? Or is it just something that happens when some other criteria is met? Yeah, it does have a toy-like quality to it. And you know what? I always think, I said this about Drift as well. Make a toy first, make a fun toy, then turn it into a game. Yeah, I think you've got 2 ways to go with this, because the game is not really showing me how to play it, and so the kind of making it more forgiving might fit better with the fact that the game doesn't teach itself, right? And I think if you, however, whatever is going on at the moment, I'm obviously failing and losing, which is okay if the game tells me how to play itself. But at the moment, it's like the inner planet needs people from Earth. Okay. See, like I didn't even have a concept that there were 2 different directions of route. So that one is going to the internal one and that one is going out. Yeah, I didn't even get that there was like 2 directions of these. So I think if there's a way of making the directionality of these more pronounced, it is already pronounced. Like we can see that is going out and that's going in. But I think because they're all clockwise, it's quite hard to, you just sort of see them moving in the same direction, and it's quite hard to see that one's going from one to the other. But again, I think if you used the staggered colors of the 2 planets on each of these, then the directionality would probably be clearer as well. But and you could still really limit the colors to like 7 or something, so it feels like feels still quite minimalistic and like a, yeah, Rimmed Capsule is a good reference for that style of game, of like minimalist sci-fi that looks like something you could buy in IKEA. I think it would be good to have a shortcut to cut all of the ties in one go as well, so that you can kind of reset a little bit. Right, that needs peoples to go to it. So it says I don't... Oh, okay. I think I tried to make the same link twice. Water goes there. People go there. So these 2 planets just have a kind of mutually reinforcing thing where they both need the thing that the other has. This one needs more people, so they're going to come from that planet and go there. And I can't quite tell... So the further the planets are out, the kind of further away they get from each other in terms of the rotations, which means that might be occasions where you need to actually use 2 links between the same planet in the same direction because they don't pass each other very often, I think. It's quite a fun thing to try and work out on your own, but I don't think most players will do that, right? I think most players will go, I don't understand, and then they'll just throw their computer out the window. You know what gamers are like. Cool idea. Pleasant to interact with, toy-like. Just need to work out what the top level experience is in terms of like, is this something that you're supposed to fail really quickly like that, or is it yeah, you can just about kind of tell what's going on. I think I'd like a quick way to quickly cut every link and then draw them from scratch. I think being able to quickly understand the links and their directionality would be good. Color could be one way of dealing with that. It's not necessarily the only way. It is very much like Mini Metro. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Mini Metro. And that also means you could do really cool stuff with soundtrack here. So Mini Metro, if you don't know, Disaster Piece did the soundtrack for Mini Metro, who did the Fez music, and actually worked very closely with the developers to make the reactive music to it. So the reactive music in Mini Metro doesn't use Fmod or Wise or anything like that. It's like a custom solution. There's music that comes in for every new line you add and stuff like that. You could do a very simplistic version of that here by having like a looping 10-minute piece of ambient music that's made up of like 12 channels, and each time a planet gets added, you fade one in. It's like the simplest way to do reactive music in a game when you don't want to use middleware is just have a bunch of files of the pieces of the same song that all play and loop at the same time, but you mute all of them and then you fade them in under different circumstances. And you could do something really, really kind of hypnotic with that and gradually fade in the different elements. That's cool. Mega Metro, yeah. Moon Metro. Let's see what else we got in the bag. It won't let me quit. You've hacked my computer with your game. I'm gonna have to Windows what's it? Yeah, this is the I quit OBS instead of the game. Classic error. So an anti-gamer stream is a gamer stream where we play games and we talk about how we hate games and gamers. All my streams are like that. I've been playing video games for 35 years, but I hate them and everyone who plays them. Yeah, I did accidentally close OBS. Well, I never pretended to know how to use a computer. I'm very, very honest about that. Right, we've got Chair Champions still to come. Which is a game about chairs and champions. We've done Mazer. Oh, Zebra Tables. I don't know what that is. I'm intrigued. Okay, let's check out Zebra Tables because that's totally new to the stream, and then we'll check out see what's been updated with Chair Champions. So it says continue playing because I opened it earlier, but I don't think I actually played it. I just I opened it and then the music was running in the background for ages and I couldn't work out what it was. Infinite retention secrets unlocked. Yeah. Yeah, so Amelia, I forgot that it was running in a browser, so I was like, I was on Windows Manager, like going, where is this Unity window? Why can't I find Unity on here? And it was because it was in Chrome and not in Unity, of course. There's lots of helpful feedback for the devs in the chat as well. So hopefully I've set this one to record the chat. I keep forgetting to do that because it's not the default setting, which is stupid and annoying. Let's see what this is. Well, 3 little lawsuits. Mumar cow broke into a bear cave to get some of that famous porridge. After falling off a stool and spraining her ankle, Mumar wants to sue. Find out which chairs belong to which bear to get this lawsuit started. Okay, interesting. Please don't have text that goes all the way across the screen like this. Condense it into 3 lines. People get mentally turned off when they have to read a very wide piece of text. It's one of the reasons why newspapers print in columns rather than going all the way across the page like this. I'm going to select a clue to get started. Papa Bear's chair was as hard as a rock. Okay. Mama Bear's chair was way softer than Baby Bear's. Okay, so we know these things because these are from the 3 bears. So these are things that are easy to remember. This is a cool little interface up here. I like this. Papa Bear's chair was as hard as a rock. Mama Bear's chair was way softer than Baby Bear's. So I don't understand what boulder, pile of squirrels, or wooden stool mean because I haven't really heard anything about these yet. What's your job? To use logic and clues to solve each case. No guessing. No guessing. Can you enforce the no guessing? Is that an enforceable no guessing? A boulder is a rock. Yeah, you're right. So Papa Bear and a boulder. Papa Bear and a wooden stool. Mama Bear and a wooden stool. What is happening? That's my guess. One true cell must exist. Okay, so... Okay. Seat at the table and the bears. I think the way that this is oriented is confusing me a little bit, because bears is these 3 things. So it's like, these are subdivisions of bears, so I would put bears here, maybe, but this is kind of throwing me off a little bit. And then, so Papa Bear is sitting on a boulder. Because a wooden stool isn't solid as a rock. A boulder is as hard as a rock. So that's Papa Bear's chair. And Mama Bear's chair was much softer than Baby Bear's. We don't know anything about Baby Bear's chair, but there's 3 things and they're being compared in terms of softness. So if we assume that these are all part of the thing, then Baby Bear's chair is the wooden stool because the only thing that can be softer than it is the pile of squirrels that Mama Bear sits on. Does that work? What? Oh, okay. And then Baby Bear sits on the wooden stool. That's cool. Right, so the structure of this is really cool. Using the three bears as your setup is a good idea because people know that information already. If they've, well, most people who come from the same cultural background know about the three bears. The tale of three bears who robbed a bank in Sweden in the 1970s. Everyone knows that tale. But what most people don't know about the three bears is they all sat on different types of thing. And that's what this is asking us to comment on. Good sound effect choices. Just going to turn these sweet jams up on my end. A boulder is a rock. Trudoku, yeah. It's a good mix of things. So, I think one of the things I'd like to see with this is don't treat the entire screen as your available space. Like, make the puzzle a little bit bigger and then bring the dialogue up and condense it so that the puzzle is kind of taking up this space a bit more, and then the dialogue is sort of here rather than pushed down into the corner. Three pieces of mail arrive with no names. They want me to deliver each package to the right employee. Okay. I can't believe they lost my mail. I'd understand if it was a letter, but come on. So Mumarkau didn't have a letter. It could be either of the things. And she says a letter is easier to lose than either of these things. Has Moth received his package yet? It should be ticking. Okay, so the sketchy box is for Mothman. And Mumarkau didn't have a letter, which means Business Bobcat was supposed to get a letter. Because that's what Business Bobcats get. And Mumarkau was supposed to get some flowers. Not a big fan of free cell puzzles, but the way that this is kind of structured into a little... it's kind of a micro drama of things that are happening in this story for each puzzle, which I think is really neat. I think there might be a video game here, folks. I think this might be a game. After working in the industry for several years and also obtaining a PhD in a related subject, I'm now qualified to tell you whether or not something is a video game. Next level. Puzzle investigator, I've got a meeting in 5 minutes. How did I get these stains all over my shirt? Red, yellow, brown, black. Blood, dip in sauce, ink. Okay, so we got blood is definitely red, but it might be a red herring. Because we might actually find out that the blood is belonging to a creature that has a different colour blood. Have you ever thought of that? No, you didn't think of that, did you? Until then, because I only just said it. So we've got a more complex thing. We've got a 4x4 grid. It's going to be interesting to see how the complexity ramps up. Because, you know, this is the same as Free Cell in terms of what you're doing on here. But having to pass the information of the situation down here in order to get there is... it's still just doing process of elimination. But it's something I kind of... enjoy it more because of the theme, I guess. I did have honey mustard with my chicken nuggies. Okay. Well, that's your dipping sauce, your yellow dipping sauce. I know where this stain came from, my body. I nicked my eyeball, that's red. You've got red eyeball. Red blood that comes out of your eyeball. It was a bloodbath. I tried to clean the stain, but all it did was change to a darker colour. So actually... the blood might actually be brown. I probably shouldn't have painted the conference room during my lunch break, but Mumar hated the black walls. So the paint is not black. which means that the paint might be red and the blood might be brown. What colour is the ink? I don't use any colourful... Well, the ink is going to be... Yeah, the paint is red and the ink is black. Because he doesn't use any colourful pens. The blood turned a darker colour when it drained, so when it dried. So the blood's not actually going to be red. The dipping sauce is mustard, which is yellow, and the moo cow wanted the walls to be red because they were black before. Amazing job. Perfect. I'm good at this. I'm good at thinking sometimes. Cross-referencing clues. When puzzles become more complex, you'll need your instincts and match clues in both directions. Oh no. Oh no. What would you have me do? It's Dolly the dolphin. I'm just gonna sidle up here, out of the way of this dialogue box. Would you like to do a puzzle? It's a dental who drilled it. To be fair, so yeah, people are making comments about like the ramp of the difficulty here. I do think if someone enjoys those first couple of puzzles, they're going to want something to get their teeth into. So maybe this is slightly too steep, but I wouldn't want to keep doing 3 and 4 grids for that long. So maybe this is too quick, but this is where I want the game to get to eventually. And I want to see that it's in there from the get-go, so I know I'm not just doing very simple things for like an hour before I get to this, because this is kind of what I want to get my teeth into. The cracked tooth procedure is scheduled later in the day than the routine checkup. Okay. So the order of these on here is related to these times. So it's the cracked tooth is after the routine checkup, so that they could be like that, or the cracked tooth could be there. The root canal could be anywhere. Zeke had it was Zeke who had the routine checkup. Kitty Cat had the cracked tooth, and the dolphin. Oh, Namuma had the root canal, and the root canal was scheduled at the end of the day, which means that the cracked tooth comes out directly after the routine checkup. And then that means I need to put these like that as well. Oh no, hang on. Yeah, so Zeke Zebra had a routine checkup, which was at 11 o'clock, so I'd fill that in. Moo Marcow had a cracked tooth. No, Moo Marcow had the root canal, which was at the end of the day, and Kitty Cat had the cracked tooth, which was in the middle of the day. Okay, it's more complicated than it looks, but this is actually a really cool way of modelling this second order problem thing. You fill these out and then cross-reference them to make the middle one. I like it. I like it. That kind of the emotional arc of the last couple of minutes of the stream is exactly what you want with this game. You see a puzzle, you go, oh my god, I can't do that, and then you do it, and you go, oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought. And that's not disappointing, that's making the player feel smart, which is what you want. Yeah, show people something that's a little bit daunting, then they try and do it and realize it's not that hard. That's actually very good onboarding. And we talked like last week in the live lecture about this, like tutorials and onboarding, slightly different thing. Tutorials more specific, teaching people. Onboarding is teaching people to enjoy your game. And showing people something that looks like it's going to be very hard and then letting them enjoy getting over it easier than they thought they were going to do is actually quite a sensible thing to do early on in a game. Imagine a Call of Duty game where for the first hour of the game, you don't ever get in a fight with more than 3 or 4 people at once. It doesn't fulfill the fantasy of what those games are about. So you need to do some things earlier in the game that look like a kind of against all odds kind of win. And this is the logical Sudoku puzzle equivalent of that. So that was very well set up, I think. If this was how Ace Attorney worked, I would enjoy playing Ace Attorney way more. Resizing the board. When the puzzles get tougher, you may want to focus on different parts of the board. Okay? You can mouse wheel in and out. You can hold down spacebar on your middle mouse button, then click and drag to move the board around. That's all for now. Have fun solving puzzles. Okay, I can do a zoom about, and I can focus in. Food fight at the amusement park. Four thrill seekers got caught sneaking snacks on the ride. Match each muncher to their forbidden feast. Bumper cars, carousel, petting zoo, roller coaster. So these are rides. These are the characters and these are the foods. So this is where we're going to catalogue which foods were found on which rides down here and then who went on each ride over here. Because the residents of this amusement park, the customers are very wasteful and they spend the entire price of a ticket to just go on one ride. Which, you know, rich people, man, I don't understand them. New clue. Dolly Dolphin. Terry only visited the clam attractions. How am I supposed to trust you? You're one of the suspects. I don't trust anything you have to say about Terry. Oh, the calm attractions. I thought it said clam attractions. That's like an erotic thriller in the BoJack universe. Clam attraction. Okay. Dolly only went on the calm things, which I think would be the carousel and the petting zoo. So I'm just going to put an X on the not calm attractions for Dolly Dolphin, because the yellow, this is... Oh. That's saying you can only have one positive, so I'm only marking the negatives for these because my ticks are supposed to go in this grid. It's Terry. He's here. He's here. It's Terry. Hey, Terry. Zebra couldn't stay away from the horses. You can't keep me away from a cold popsicle. I couldn't ride the carousel because a stick was jammed into it, which will be from the popsicle, right? Which means Moo Cow was on the carousel. And a popsicle was on the carousel, I think. This is great. Carousels do have horses. Oh, you're a kitten, you're a genius. So that was zebra. Could be on either of these, actually. Although the carousel, we've already got that with. The animals that love water absolutely hate cotton candy. So that's Dolly and Terry. So they're not going to be the cotton candy culprits. So I have a button to give me a new clue. That's clue number 6. Okay. The evidence at the bumper cars was still frozen. I have made a mistake. So Mummar Cow said she eats popsicles, but the carousel had a stick in it, but the bumper cars were where the evidence was frozen. So the bumper cars are actually the corn dog, and the the bumper cars are the popsicle, and the carousel is the corn dog, which means Mummar was eating the popsicle on the bumper cars, I think. Or the cotton candy. Oh my god. Okay. So the bumper cars was the popsicle. That's the only thing it could be. The carousel could be the corn dog or the cotton candy because there was a stick there. So it's not the funnel cake. The animals that love water hate cotton candy. Corn dogs have sticks. They do. This is such a silly little world. Zebra couldn't ride the carousel because a stick was jammed in it. The carousel was not ridden by Zebra. The carousel had a stick jammed in it, which means it wasn't the funnel cake. It was potentially the corn dog or the cotton candy. It wasn't the popsicle because the popsicle was frozen on the bumper cars. Zebra does have to have the cotton candy, you're right. Zebra had the cotton candy. Mummar had a popsicle. We know about that. Yeah, it's a very good streamer game because the chat work it out and the streamer just reads things out. I think that's what might happen if a streamer were to play this game. They would just wait for the chat to answer the questions rather than thinking about any of it themselves. My brain is really shutting down. Terry only visited the calm attractions. Terry, have I got that down for you? The carousel, the petting zoo, that rules out the roller coaster for you as well. Zebra couldn't stay away from the horses, which could be the carousel, but so if Zebra had the cotton candy on the petting zoo, then we put that there. Cotton candy was the thing in the petting zoo. And then the corn dog was in the carousel because that's the remaining stick food. That's a real thing, stick food. I just invented that. So the corn dog was eaten on the carousel. And yeah, the music is cool. Something's happened here because maybe I've just got my crosses in the wrong place. I think it's quite hard to get mobile players to read this much text. It would be a very, very good iPad game. I couldn't ride the carousel because the stick was jumped. So Zebra didn't ride the... We know they didn't ride the carousel. Okay, Zebra I think I've got. think I would do something like that, but the funnel cake is really not mentioned. It's process of elimination that it doesn't have a stick in it. So if the carousel had a sticked food in, then we know that the funnel cake is not in the carousel, which I've already indicated there. It's so hard. Ugh. The animals that love water, we've done that. They're not cotton candy. Have we established anything else about the cotton candy? The cotton candy was had in the petting zoo. Which means... yeah, so I've done the cotton candy already. So if I were to say Dolly Dolphin had a corn dog and I just guessed that, and the corn dog was eaten in the carousel, then that would go there. Oh yeah, I don't have anything on the roller coaster. And Terry didn't go on the roller coaster. Terry went on something calm. So actually, Terry went on the carousel and Dolly went on the roller coaster, I think. And the roller coaster food was the funnel cake, which means that Dolly had the funnel cake, but when I've got the corn dog, I need to restart the whole thing. It's like I can't, I've got it into such a mess. I need to go back. Right, so the easy wins. Mumar is the easy win because she likes a popsicle. The popsicle was frozen. I think these should maybe load after the first time you read these. I think this text should fill out quicker because watching it animate again is very annoying. So the bumper cars was frozen. So that one was Mimar. Zebra couldn't stay away from the horses, which is the petting zoo, and we'll assume it's the carousel as well. Oh, couldn't stay away from the horses. So I misread that. I sort of turned that round in my head. So they definitely didn't go to the roller coaster. And Terry only visited the calm attractions, which rules out the roller coaster for Terry. The carousel is calmer, I would think, and it's not going to be the bumper cars because we've already tagged them. The zebra wanted to ride the carousel but couldn't because there was a stick, which means that the carousel is not the funnel cake. Dolphin has to be coaster. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for that one. The animals that love water hate cotton candy. So that's the dolphin and the turtle. And we've got that one already. So is that enough to work it out from there? So Terry didn't have cotton candy. The carousel had a stick-based food on it, so it wasn't the funnel cake. Okay, so zebra definitely went to the petting zoo because the horses was this or this, but they couldn't go on the carousel. Which means we've got all of the locations. But we need to know more about who ate what. So if Dolly didn't have cotton candy and Terry didn't have cotton candy, we don't really know anything about the relationship between the food. I can't do this. It's like a sort of mental rotation, but with concepts. So the carousel was Terry Turtle. And Terry Turtle was not cotton candy. So the carousel is Terry Turtle. The Terry Turtle was not the cotton candy. Which means that... What does that mean? What does that mean? I can't do this next step. I can kind of feel the shape of it there in my mind, but I can't actually execute it. Terry Turtle went on the carousel and didn't have cotton candy. So the person who went on the carousel didn't have cotton candy. Okay. There we go. Dolly Dolphin went on the roller coaster and didn't have cotton candy. So whoever went on the roller coaster didn't have cotton candy, which means that the cotton candy was had by whoever was at the petting zoo. Who was at the petting zoo? The zebra was at the petting zoo. So the cotton candy was had by the zebra. And then, okay, we're getting there. Dolly Dolphin was at the roller coaster. Whoever was at the roller coaster had not cotton candy, but one of these other things. Right, I've got 4 spaces here and 3 here. How has that happened? Who was at the carousel? The carousel was Terry Turtle. What do we know about what Terry Turtle ate? We don't. But there's only 1 space left, so the person on the carousel had the corn dog, which means Terry Turtle had the corn dog. And then Dolly Dolphin is the last one. Is that right? Wow. Oh my goodness. Corn dog. Why was that so hard? It's like it's because I'm trying to like work it out as a rational set of steps instead of using the grid, and I'm like, the grid is there for a reason. It's a good game. It's really good. There's some things I do to kind of make the UI more manageable, and I definitely think these should not type out much quicker the first time, and then when you click back on them, don't animate at all. Okay. Gonna try this one at the risk of losing my mind. I think we've got one more after this. Booze cruise. 3 friends went on a booze cruise. They immediately went to the bar before even finding their rooms. They're too drunk to remember what luggage or room they had, but they're totally fine gossiping about each other. Let's sort this all out. The art style and the music and the graphic design, it really feels like a Jackbox game. You couldn't play it like a Jackbox game. It would be impossible to control, but they have certain games that have very similar creative direction to this. It's sort of like a funky 90s Nickelodeon type vibe. This game is going places. You're gonna be a star. You're gonna sell 1 million copies. That's my movie producer voice. Ooh-wee! Dolly can pack light because she refuses to wear clothes. Always try. We're getting some slut shaming in this game now. Dolly doesn't wear clothes. Okay, Dolly. It's what's the BoJack character? Is it Christofina Aquafina or something? The dolphin. That's like. I'm not going to talk about the dolphin storyline, but okay, dolphin. She didn't have a giant suitcase. That's what we know. And probably didn't have a briefcase either, but I'll leave that. I'll cross it out for now. I think half the crews heard a scream from a luxury balcony. I just paid $10,000 for a flippin' beer. Someone had a beer. Whoever was in the executive suite had a beer. Is that right? Because that's the most expensive one. Oh no, the luxury balcony is the expensive one. So the luxury balcony goes with the beer. Yeah. Dolly's drink was way fruitier than I could handle. I hate that stuff. Dolly had a pina colada. Dolly likes pina coladas. By process of elimination, we can also establish that Dolly likes getting caught in the rain. The crew staff is a moth, yeah. With a paper hat. The whole ship had to attend a safety meeting. Yeah, I would say, there's a lot of cultural information here. So if someone doesn't drink or, comes from a culture where people don't drink, they're not going to know what a pina colada is or how a pina colada and a margarita differ. I think if you had the time, one of the things you could do is, if you have each clue or have certain clues have a little drawing with them. So when someone says someone's drink was sweet, I don't know, maybe it's giving too much away at that point, but there is definitely going to be a hurdle for some of these with what some of these things mean if you don't have the cultural context. But hey, that's just how narrative works. Sometimes narrative has a cultural context. You heard it here first, folks. The whole ship had to attend a safety meeting because some jerk left their briefcase on the balcony. So the luxury balcony and the briefcase go together. The giant suitcase... Oh no, the briefcase. And the balcony. That cow always goes cheap with her room. Moomar in the cheap room, the engine room. The one who likes coconut in her drink splurged for a fancy room. So the pina colada is the luxury balcony. So the luxury balcony... No, the beer. So the executive suite goes with the pina colada because that's an expensive room, but it's not the luxury balcony, which we already heard about. So pina colada goes with the executive suite. We know Dolly Dolphin doesn't... We know Dolly Dolphin probably has the fanny pack because she travels light. She doesn't wear any clothes, so she can just wear a fanny pack, which means that we can now exclude Dolly Dolphin from being the person with the giant suitcase and the person with the briefcase. So we've already got that here. So the luxury balcony person had the briefcase, which means Dolly Dolphin is not the luxury balcony person. And Dolly Dolphin doesn't have the giant suitcase, and the giant suitcase is not associated with anything else yet. But maybe, did I read... Yeah, someone left their briefcase on the balcony. The briefcase goes with the luxury balcony. I've already got that. The luxury balcony here. And... Oh, we've got a... Okay, this box is giving us a free answer because... We know that, well, because it's the only one left. So we know that the person in the engine room drinks margaritas, which means that if Muammar Cow is in the engine room, then Muammar Cow has a margarita, which means we've now got Zeke Zebra drinking the beer. And we know that the beer was drunk by the person in the luxury balcony, which means Zeke Zebra was on the luxury balcony, which means Dolly Dolphin was in the executive suite, which, yeah, okay, we're getting there. So the executive suite, I don't know how to turn that into that. The Pina Colada was drunk by Dolly Dolphin in the executive suite. And Dolly Dolphin had a fanny pack, so the Pina Colada goes with the fanny pack. Okay. Mumal Cow was in the engine room with a margarita, and the person with that doesn't help us. The luxury balcony person was the briefcase person. Do we know who had the luxury balcony? Zeke Zebra had the luxury balcony, which means that Zeke Zebra and the luxury balcony line up, which means that Mumal Cow has the giant suitcase. And the person with the giant suitcase, Mumal Cow had a giant suitcase and was in the engine room, so giant suitcase and the engine room line up that way, which means that goes there. The beer was had by Zeke Zebra. Zeke Zebra had the luxury balcony. The luxury balcony person had a beer. Oh, I'm so confused now. No, the cow told us that Dolly didn't. Dolly was the person that didn't bring a lot of clothes, right? So it's doing a couple of things here where the characters are like bitching about each other. So you hear a clue about another one, and then you have to pay attention to who their names are, because one character is telling you something and it's about another character. The beer was had by Zeke Zebra, and Zeke Zebra had a briefcase, so the beer goes there. Is that right? Okay, I'm not going to do any more. It'd be interesting to know how much more there is, because this is cool. But I'm not going to do any more today. I might do a... If there's lots more of that game, I might do a longer stream of it at some point, because I found that very enjoyable. What was the last one? Chairs. Where's the game about chairs? I'm gonna play it in the browser because I can. Can never remember if this has a... I'm just hovering now. Can't remember if this has a controller or not. Yeah, that one was cool. Thank you for the help, folks. That one was a bit of a brain buster. My brain has been busted. If only there was some sort of relaxing, jovial game about driving a office chair around to take the edge off after that. Yeah, nice one, Tom. That one's really, really solid. I think I'm going to have to download it because I think we're getting some stuff cut off in this one. The nuance lover. Just installing the download version so that we don't get anything cut off. There we go. I'm ready. Ready now. I just needed to hype myself up with some frog music. As Eminem once said, I don't make cat music, I don't make dog music, I make frog music. For rich high school kids. I think it went something like that. Right. One button and some controllers. Keeping it simple, guys. There we go. When I click into it, it doesn't play right. Give me a second. There we go. I'm going to go on medium difficulty. There we go. Sorry, it was it's really fiddly about whether or not it wants to stream. Not the first game we've had this with. It's the new chair. It's a new chair. I'm gonna have to go with Steven Seagal. Of course.
3, 2, 1.
You know what? I think the camera is a little bit too shaky. I'm not sure what the fix would be, but it's a little bit easier when I play it on the smaller screen. So when we're going in a straight line, it's fine, but as soon as we're going diagonally, I think is when we get... So there's been some... Previously, I know it was... I'll just turn the music down a little bit. I know previously it was probably me and maybe some other people said having the camera too fixed on the character felt like you weren't seeing far enough ahead. So we've got some kind of camera stuff going on here now, but it's also a bit shaky. Like if I kind of do a circle like that with my joystick, the camera is moving immediately to the direction. Thank you, Victor. And it's kind of okay when we're going in one direction, but when we're changing direction a lot of times, it just switches a little bit too quickly each time, I think. Sorry, my logo is over the ranking. I keep looking for what position I'm in, even though I'm on time attack, which I think is because time attack plus other races is a confusing set of things, I think. Ah, you took my chair. You took my chair. Evil. I think we might theory craft out a... Am I sad because I'm on the wrong chair? What's going on? I'm deliberately going into the rugs because I want to see if I can make myself fall off, but it's not happening. I've seen this, I talked about this the first time I played this game, which was probably about 6 months ago now. But this is, it's not the same one, but there's an asset pack that originally was developed for RPG Maker called Old School Modern. And this is like an adaptation of that that's had more stuff added to it and everything. And it's really fun to see that used for a totally different type of game. Right, we're going to do a race that isn't a race now that isn't a time attack. So the other characters are actually there to do something now. I'm just going to use a boring old office chair. That looks very much like the one I'm sat on this moment.
3, 2, 1.
So it's like a kind of a speed boost bar you get from picking up the items. The boots give you like that kind of yellow fiery boost. The energy drink puts the blue energy bar up. I'm still not quite sure how all of the different power-ups work in this. I like the wheel power-up sound effect. Sounds like something negative is happening. I'm in 6th. I can't see any hope of catching up. They're lapping me now. It's so funny to see a game where the art asset for the character is like backwards compared to the way that they normally would be. Yay! Fell off. That's what I've been waiting to see. hazards that feel a bit more hazardous. Yeah, it is very hard to catch up when you're losing. Let me just make this a bit more romantic. That's what should happen in all racing games, really, I think. Just the option to sit it out. I want to just very quickly do a quick bit of theory crafting around that camera while we're all here. Because I have a theory. Might not be right, but I can only explain it by doodling it in Miro. So, at the moment, the camera moves very quickly, and if you're because you're only moving in 4 directions, right? It's not a smooth turning. It's like a 8 directional movement, I think. And that means that when you move in a direction and the camera moves over there, it kind of jolts over very quickly. Now you have that mechanic, which is like this sort of Sega Rally type. I'm gonna theory craft this out, and then chat can basically tell me if they think I'm making sense or whether this is a bad idea, because this is the sort of thing that I can't really work out how it would feel unless I was programming it myself. But you've got the blue direction, which is telling you where the general next direction of it is, and sometimes it splits, doesn't it? It goes like in 2 directions, in which case you average it out to the middle. So you've got that kind of node of the direction of travel of the track, right? Which let's say I'm traveling upwards, so here's my character and we're going up, so the camera wants to go over there, and then we've got the direction of the direction that I'm actually moving in, which is like, oh, we'll put that with a yellow color, right? So let's say that the track wants me to go up, wants me to go north on the screen. So we've got a point up here, which is the direction that the camera is pulling in. And then let's say as a character, I'm pushing up on my controller as well. And then let's say that there's another situation where the track is going up, but I'm driving over to the right. Then we've got a situation where the camera, if it's going towards the way of the track, the camera would go up this way. But if it's going towards my direction with the joysticks, it would go over this way. I think there might be a world where you sort of triangulate both of these and you put the camera position on the average. So I'm going to make a green because when you mix blue and yellow together, you get green. Right, so at any given moment, we sort of take, okay, the character is traveling east on the screen, but the track is supposed to go to the right. So we basically put the camera just up here on the northeast. And then if the character is traveling in the same direction, we just average these points out and you end up with the camera in the right place. And then if the character is supposed to be going to the north, but the player is driving them to the south, the average out and the camera position will be here right in the middle. Right? And then, yeah. Numo, you're right. So here is... Let's make a couple of examples. I'm not sure that this is the method that would work best, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. So here is our character. The direction of the arrow is the direction that the character is driving in, right? So if the character is driving towards the way that the arrow is going, then the screen kind of does a look ahead and, you know, we get a center point which is right in the middle of those things. But if the character is driving right and the arrow is pointing up, then we would get something more like that. And if the character is driving away from the arrow, then it would be like more centered because of them averaging out. And then I would lerp the position of the camera much slower than it currently is, because I think probably some of the stuff with the camera swaying about is just like it. Oh, I need to turn my romantic filter off of it. There we go. I think it is really just that it updates too quickly and it kind of rushes to the new position. So even if you don't do what I was talking about, so when you totally change direction, like if I'm going right and I want to go left, then that camera change actually feels alright. Right? That is the right speed for that kind of camera change if I'm actually changing direction. I think the problem is that because the character only moves in 4 directions, it always feels a bit like it's... If I'm going like... If I'm moving and I'm not moving directly up or directly left, but diagonally, I'm not moving diagonally, I'm going in a kind of stair type motion. And that movement with the camera feels particularly weird, so I'm not totally sure how you resolve it, but it feels to me like there should be an object that the camera is focusing on that is sort of moving in relation to how the character is moving and the way that the track is going. So you get that kind of look ahead type thing. I'm not sure. Right. I'm gonna close down Chair Champions for now. I'm glad I got to go on Stephen the Seagull. And I got a chance to fall off my chair on a rug. I really like this project because it feels like Buckethead. It really feels like you kind of have a very gardenery type approach to your game where you just go in and tinker about. And you're just always doing little updates with new stuff, which I think is a really a neat way to make a game. And it is the right sort of game for building that way, I think. It's enjoyable. Yeah, just maybe trying the camera moving slower to the target could work. Anyway, I'm going to go and start making some food. Thank you all for joining. This has been our monthly community stream, which is just games from our Discord members. If you're already in the Discord and you want to submit a game, I have updated the process so that there is just a form that you fill out. It is pinned in the playtesting and QA what are they called? Channel. They're called channels. In the playtesting and QA channel, if you go on pins, there is a pinned form. And the way it works is you can put your game in there at any point and it will go in next month's one of these. So next month, I'm definitely going to prioritize playing Dungeon Delivered, which is an iOS game, which I have actually played on... I have played on my phone, but I haven't set up the stuff to stream from my phone during a stream for a long time. So I will get that sorted for next time. So if you are in our Discord and you're working on a iOS game and you're able to send me a test flight build for next time, maybe we'll have a little iOS special. If not, I'll just check out whichever games are in the list. And as always, I will prioritize new games that we haven't seen yet first. Happy to see games again. I've seen Chair Champions a few times. There's other games we saw today that I've seen before. Happy to see games again from the community stream, because that's kind of the point of it. Normally the streams I do, we only look at games once, but you are the people who are supporting this channel and allowing it to exist by funding it. So yeah, thank you for submitting your games. Thank you for hanging out in the chat, and I will see you all again soon. And now we're gonna go, and I'm gonna just leave the Patreon song running for a little while because I set it up as an automation on OBS because I'm very, very clever.
Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We go to what we do, robots. May you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We got to walk into robots, may you be spared. Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Why put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We got to walk into robots, may you be spared. Thank you to